Well, I hope last night's Raw was a learning experience for many of you because you were given an education. You should have learned a lot from last night's show. Now, did you? Eh, maybe, more likely, probably not. What are some of the things that you should have learned from Raw last night? Number one is that hijacking a show or claiming and threatening to hijack a show is stupid. In no way does that deliver any message. In no way is that long term going to affect what the WWE is going to do. The WWE will continue to do things the WWE way until you stop thinking with this and you start thinking with this and you stop giving them your money, you stop going to the shows and you stop watching the shows. This is not a difficult concept to understand, and I hope some fans are starting to learn this. Probably not, though. We'll view it more from the naive standpoint of, oh, I can't just get out of here. What else should you have learned from last night's Raw? Oh, the fact that announcing your plans basically almost a week ahead of time of what you're going to do, giving the WWE a chance to see what you were going to do for almost a week, and then with you not knowing what the WWE was going to do, the WWE being able to adjust and do just enough to shut you up while still doing what they wanted to do ultimately, you should learn that the WWE played you like a fool. And you should learn that before you come up with these naive-ass fan concepts, you need to think more like businessmen. Otherwise, you will get played like you did by the WWE last night. Let us also learn that while the Chicago crowds can be great, the Rosemont crowds, if you will, can be great, they aren't as great as they may proclaim themselves to be. All the people that sat there and said last night's crowd was great, at times, but not for the entire show. And especially for what this crowd was supposed to be doing and what they were ultimately going to be measured against, I think they failed miserably. Also, let this be a lesson to you that ultimately, at the end of the day, the WWE is still going to do things the WWE way, regardless of what you say. Because they realize, and last night again was a perfect example of that, that more serious fans, the hardcore fans, the internet fans, have a tremendous bark, but very little bite. And the more you threaten and you don't follow through, their promises unfulfilled, that means their threats not heard. So why should the WWE adapt to you that much? And why should they change the way they're doing things when they feel like they know what they're doing better than you know what they're doing, or you know what you're doing yourself? I can't blame them. You give them no reason to change, they're not going to change. And I hope you also learn that CM Punk leaving the WWE is not a work. I hope you learn that CM Punk leaving the WWE was very real. I hope you also learn that the WWE, you can blame them all you want for CM Punk leaving, and there are things you could blame them for that helped create the environment, but ultimately CM Punk chose to leave. And if there was ever a time for him to at least even make a one-off appearance, if he truly cared about the fans, you would have thought it would have been last night in his hometown of Rosemont there in the Chicago area. But he didn't. It is time that you learn to stop being so naive. You can sit there and like a CM Punk. You can be a fan of CM Punk, but don't fool yourself. CM Punk does not like you. CM Punk does not care about you. CM Punk cares about CM Punk and only CM Punk, and I do not begrudge him for that. But the bottom line is the fact that fans still incessantly chant for him, especially during things like Wyatt family segments and Daniel Bryan segments, is absolutely fucking ridiculous. How much do you want to bet that a lot of those people involved with the company, a lot of those ones that you chant for CM Punk during their matches and segments, don't agree with what CM Punk did? How about instead of hijacking the show or trying to pathetically hijacking the show by chanting for somebody that walked out, that quit, you stupid fucks, that gave up on you, that doesn't care about you, how about you chant for the people that are still there, that care enough to fulfill their obligations, that care enough to go out there and bust their asses to try and entertain you? If anything, you should have learned that a lot of you are just flat out idiots and that you need to wisen up. Now let's talk about Raw. I applaud the WWE's choice of trolling the audience, and at the same point in time putting the audience on the defensive from the very beginning, knowing what these knuckleheads in Rosemont were planning this week by sending out Paul Heyman to CM Punk's music. Because they wanted to boo and they wanted to do this, but then they're like, "Oh my God, that's Paul Heyman. He was the owner of ECW, and we like him." Yeah, they chanted CM Punk, and I love how Paul Heyman fed into it, and he let them have it, and he sat there and played onto it, and he addressed it, and he talked about it, and then so skillfully and so artfully managed to segue to people that were there, people that are actually going to appear at WrestleMania 30. And he took CM Punk and spun it into a way that built interest and intrigue into the feud between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker, as if it's kind of Paul Heyman's mission statement now to end the damn streak. Kind of like an old thing where Bobby the Brain Heenan was obsessed with finding people that could beat Hogan. You get the idea here. This was incredibly well done. It was a genius thought process by the WWE to start off with Paul Lee Heyman, and my God, he delivered here. This was a fantastic opening segment that was very, very well played, where you take the crowd from one thing to where they're focusing on something else. To those of you that don't agree with me about my frustration on the WWE not waiting until WrestleMania to have the Usos win the tag titles, to give them their big WrestleMania moment, well, too fucking bad. Because what do you want to bet? That if Daniel Bryan doesn't win the belt until Extreme Rules or a little later, you hypocrites will sit there and be bitching about that. Even though he still won the title, he wouldn't have done it exactly when you wanted, where you wanted, and how you wanted, and you're still going to bitch about that. So don't sit there and throw stones at me being pissed off about the Usos not getting their moment at WrestleMania. I'm still pissed about that. But I'm also going to be happy that the Usos have finally won the tag straps. And the only reason I think I'm really truly mad is because I wanted more time to plan out a big celebration for the WrestleMania review and do a big I Love Samoa song. And now I didn't have the time to prepare one. I'll still do one for the WrestleMania review, but damn it, it's not going to mean as much. Thankfully, it seems like the WWE has finally realized that it is indeed time to turn Cesaro babyface. They're really building up the friction here between the Real Americans, in part revolving around business with Big E, which would lead me to think and suggest that they're going to have a triple threat IC title match at WrestleMania, which if they do, I'm perfectly down for. Swagger interrupted Cesaro's match against Big E. And then later in the night, Cesaro interrupted Swagger's match against Big E and threatened to put him in the Cesaro swing. This was really well done here, and I like how Zeb kind of maintained control. He started to tease it, let us get a taste of it, but didn't give it all to us. Hopefully by the time we get to WrestleMania, that full turn will have happened, or will at least happen there. I'm down for this, though. I can't wait to see how Cesaro does as a babyface on his own.
Mark is smart here. And nothing aggravates me more than having to be on the same review as that pontificating, bloviating, egomaniacal, self-centered, cynical windbag, the Schleg Daddy. He couldn't be more wrong. Hashtag Hijack Raw was a rousing success. And that Chicago crowd there at the Allstate Arena was awesome. And you know what else was awesome? How the people chanted for CM Punk. CM Punk. The Schleg Daddy will be wrong like he always is. CM Punk is going to come back because this is one big elaborate work. You will see. Because Mark is smart, knows it. And I'm so proud of the people taking to their keyboards and taking to the message boards and the forums and taking their voices to the arenas to hijack the show, to let the WWE that we demand change. And we need change now. And if they don't listen to us, we're going to bitch about it some more because that's what we have to do. We're not streaming your pay-per-views anymore. That's it. We've had it. We've had it. I'll buy your merch, sure. Maybe I'll even subscribe to your WWE network. And maybe I will go to your events when you're here. But I'm not streaming your pay-per-views. Yeah, that's right. I'm meaning serious business here. But you know, the WWE listened to us. They gave us the Shield versus the Wyatt family in a 6-man tag. And I loved how the crowd got behind the Wyatt family because they're awesome. And I love how the crowd got behind Roman Reigns because he's awesome too. And I love how the crowd got behind Dean Ambrose because he's awesome too. But the star of the night out of this match has to be Seth Rollins. He was flipping, he was kicking, and he was doing everything awesome because he's the true star. He will be, out of the six of them, the best motherfucker wrestler of them all. And my God, it was no surprise to me because he has been the glue. He's been the voice of reason. And Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose have turned their backs on him, and they have used him as the middleman, as their pass between. And Seth Rollins said, no, no, no. I'm the real star here. Yes, yes, yes. And you guys are going to figure it out. So what's going to happen now is we're going to get a WrestleMania triple threat match. Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. I can't wait to post about this one on the Lords of Pain.net forums because Seth Rollins is going to win and he's going to begin his ascension to the top. Why? Because he's one of the best motherfucker wrestlers in the world.
I really want to thank the WWE, though, for giving us something that I think we all need. It is a chore every week to sit there and watch a 3-hour wrestling show, especially when some shows are better than others. And now this was a good one. It really started well the first hour, kind of tailed off big time in the second hour, and then picked back up the last hour. But they gave us that designated poop break when they gave us Sheamus versus Christian again. I appreciated that. You try to hold it in, but at some point you got to go. But you want to find a way to time it perfectly for something that you don't care about happening on Raw. And Sheamus versus Christian was the great opportunity for myself and so many others to head to the Celtic Crapper and take a peep poop, if you will. Now, are they going to keep going with this until WrestleMania? Probably. What's the result going to be? The same result it's been for the last couple of years every time Sheamus wrestles Christian. Bro kick 1, 2, 3, Breakfast Club rules, bitches. How do you take a celebrity appearance and make it a positive part of the show? The WWE says, well, the Chicago crowd's going to be very much behind Dolph Ziggler, so let's bring in Aaron Paul, bitches, and we'll have him ride out with Dolph Ziggler, bitches, and then we'll have Dolph Ziggler win the match, bitches, all the while Aaron Paul's on commentary ripping on JBL and having a good old time and demonstrating all types of awesome energy and enthusiasm, bitches. This was well done. They took what could have potentially been a disastrous thing and made it a positive thing on this show. I don't know if it was because the heart had started to leave the audience there in Rosemont at the Allstate Arena, or it was because they maybe started to realize that hijacking a show was stupid and that they were doing a terrible job of that, which they had planned to do for a while, even though it was only a portion of the audience and not the entire audience, or if they just realized that they get tired of always trying to hijack John Cena's segments. I would have thought they would have at least hijacked this one a lot more than what they did. But John Cena came out and John Cena did a typical John Cena promo talking about Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. Whoop-de-doo! And then you get, of course, on the big screen, Bray Wyatt addressing John Cena and doing a masterful job of it. However, to the idiots that were chanting for CM Punk during Bray Wyatt's promo, shut the fuck up. If you looked on your little itinerary, you stupid idiots, you would have realized that you were supposed to worship everything involving Bray Wyatt. And you shouldn't be chanting for somebody that walked out on the company and walked out on you while another guy is trying to position himself in a big way to face off with the face of the company and make himself a big star at WrestleMania and Bray Wyatt. What the fuck did he ever do to you? Seriously. And I love how John Cena did say the one little thing that stood out to me. It seems like he's going with this, that he's the measuring stick. Because in today's WWE, frankly, he is. Must have been really cold in the Allstate Arena last night because Stephanie had the brights on. I know a lot of you sat there and were tempted to visit the Spank Bank and may indeed have when you saw what appeared to be Stephanie walking out with no bra on and her brights on. Awesome. What was really awesome, though, was the segment with Daniel Bryan, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon. Now that was a fun segment. Now that was a big deal. And that, to me, was the ultimate highlight of the night. And I just love how Triple H presents himself, that other people are beneath him, and he takes those little shots where he just kind of buries everybody. And I love how Daniel Bryan is standing tall and standing defiant, and how they managed here in this segment to take a crowd that was supposed to try and hijack this, and of course fail miserably, just like they did with pretty much the whole night. Hijacking the show wasn't just chanting for CM Punk, you stupid idiots. And Daniel Bryan and Triple H and Stephanie McMahon managed to take a crowd that was supposed to chant no, no, no throughout this entire segment. And even though they were white hot, and even though they were nuclear for this, they managed to flip them, I think, to the point where a lot of people actually want to see Daniel Bryan versus Triple H at WrestleMania 30, which has been the WWE's plan since CM Punk picked up his ball and went home. So again, the WWE is doing WWE things the WWE way, and that's fine. Because from a storyline standpoint, Daniel Bryan wrestling Triple H at WrestleMania 30, in theory, makes more sense than Daniel Bryan wrestling Randy Orton one more time for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. You know, Randy Orton has just been a part of the Authority. The ultimate representation of that Authority is Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. I love the fact that he sat there and said, well, Stephanie could put on your trunks and she could wrestle me. You know, well, she already wasn't wearing a bra, so she might as well not wear a top too. But then we got to the end of the night, and I love the fact that they're making it a point to get Batista some matches because, by God, he needs to get into ring shape, especially if he's going to wrestle in that title match at Mania. But it wasn't going to go long here, and you knew it. And they went overtime in the show, and I think people were sitting there expecting that CM Punk was going to come out since they went overtime. Ding dong, you're wrong, motherfuckers. It wasn't going to happen here. Instead, you knew the way they were playing up Randy Orton coming out and Randy Orton being at the commentary table that something was going to happen, and it ultimately did. And at the end of the night, you've got Triple H standing over Daniel Bryan. Let the road to WrestleMania 30 truly begin, bitches. Now, there could always be that possibility. Some people believe that the WWE deep down knows that they need to have a babyface into that match between Batista and Orton, and that could be if they were going to throw Punk in there. They could potentially still throw Daniel Bryan in there, maybe have him do double duty. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I don't know. That might be a thought process. But if the WWE truly firmly believes that Batista versus Randy Orton for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship is what they want to do, then that's what they're going to do. And they could still maybe have a main event that send the people home happy by giving us Daniel Bryan versus Triple H as the main event of WrestleMania 30. There's a lot of possibilities there. And we still have several weeks to go on this road to WrestleMania. But I hope once and for all that all of you that love CM Punk, and again, there's nothing wrong with loving CM Punk. You can be fans of his all day. I hope you get it through your skulls, though, that CM Punk is gone. This was not some stupid, elaborate work. This was a shoot. This was real, and he really doesn't care about the fans. He made his money, and now he went home. He quit on the company, and he quit on you. So take that energy and take that passion that you display by still chanting his name and apply it to a Daniel Bryan. Apply it to a Bray Wyatt. Apply it to a Roman Reigns. Apply it to a Cesaro. Apply it to a Big E. Apply it to a Seth Rollins. Apply it to a Dean Ambrose. Apply it to a Dolph Ziggler. Why not do everything you can to get the people that still bother to show up and deal with the same bullshit that CM Punk was dealing with? Why don't you give them your support instead of supporting a selfish asshat who picked up his ball and went home? I enjoyed Raw a lot this week, and it really didn't have that much to do, frankly, with the Chicago crowd, the Rosemont crowd, because, not surprisingly, just like many things involving Chicago, it was way overhyped, and when shit came to get, they failed to deliver in the clutch when it mattered most.